Hi everyone, this is Hadi Atai, the wandering Muslim. I went from Silicon Valley to Silk Road Valley to experience an expat life in Iran. In today's video, we're comparing the public transit systems of two capital cities on opposite sides of the world, Tehran and Washington, D.C. And you might be wondering why these two? Because they're both the capital cities, the political and cultural and economical center of the respective countries. And, while they differ in geography, economy, and culture, they share one big thing. They both rely on metro systems, buses, taxis, and rideshare apps to move millions of people every day. Another reason I decided to compare these two is that I've lived in both cities and I've experienced it firsthand. And despite similarities, the way it is done in both cities is different, and how people experience it is different. So let's start with taxis and rideshare apps. In Tehran, there is this thing called a line taxi, known locally as taxi khatti. It works kind of like a shared Uber. It runs on a fixed route between 2 points and picks up multiple passengers on the way. It's fast, affordable, and really efficient for getting people around. So each taxi is assigned a route between 2 points, let's say Tajris Square and Valias Square. The driver picks up four passengers at the beginning of the route, and that drops them off either along the way or at the destination. Once he reaches the destination, he turns around, picks up more four passengers, heads back to the Tajris Square where he started. So it goes back and forth as long as he's working, and then he goes home after he's done. So that was it's quite different from the American taxi system, which is basically what you when you need a ride, you call the taxi, they pick you up at wherever you are, and then they drop you off at the destination. The other thing is Snapp and Tapsi. Basically, those are the Iran's version of Uber and Lyft. The apps works the same way. You set your pickup and destination, get a fare up front, and track the driver. These services have expanded and exploded in popularity in Iran, and replaced many of the old systems that used to be in place. Now, onto buses. Tehran's BRT system, that's Bus Rapid Transit, uses dedicated lanes, as you see in the picture. It has elevated boarding platforms for loading and unloading passengers. You also see this one right here has an elevated boarding platform, and basically it runs every 3 to 5 minutes in high traffic areas. Even in the suburbs, buses show up every 50 minutes or so. So it's pretty convenient to use a bus in Tehran. Compare that to the St. Louis suburbs, which I used to live, and buses can come only once an hour, if at all. So if you miss one bus, you have to wait another hour to for the other bus. That level of infrequency makes public transit unusable for a lot of people. So you end up having having a car for your daily chores. Even DC's metro bus system, while broader and more efficient, struggles with delays and traffic because it doesn't have the dedicated lanes like Tehran's BRT. This used to be, Tehran's buses used to be electric, and they had these power lines over the buses that, you can see it in this picture a little bit better. See these antennas that are, extruding from the buses? Those are the ones that take the power from the power grid and runs the buses. But right now, those are are not used anymore. The infrastructure has been removed from the city. And you can see again the another boarding platform here, another one. It just makes unloading and unloading passengers smoother and easier. Next thing is metro. So when I left in Iran in 2006, Tehran had only two lines, red and blue, going north and south, and east and west. Today, it has 7 lines and about 170 stations. That's a massive expansion in 20 years. Meanwhile, Washington, D.C. has 6 lines and about 98 stations. So, not that different in terms of how extensive the system is. But it's just a bit smaller despite being in a wealthier country. Tehran's daily ridership is about 2.5 million people compared to DC's 500,000 passengers daily that are, use. It's not passengers, it's just 500,000 rides. So that's the difference. So that's a 5-time difference between Tehran and Washington, D.C. And kind of matches the population density in both cities. Tehran has 5 times more population density than Washington, D.C. The Tehran's metro system is a bit newer compared to the DC's because it has existed for a longer time. And so there are some differences as a result of that. There is one unique difference, and it's a one unique feature of Tehran's metro. I think it also exists in other cities like Brazil, Germany, Japan, and that's the woman-only cars, which is basically dedicated to women only. And especially during rush hours, it's very convenient for women, so they don't have to ride with other people in jam-packed cars. It's a simple way basically to address overcrowding and give women a safer, more comfortable option, especially when trays are, as I said, are jam-packed. So you can see, it's separate from the men's, or it's not just men's section, it's just a co-ed section. We have the women's only, and then the other cars are just anybody can get on. It just convenience for the ladies, and in my opinion, it's a nice thing to have for in any country because I would say that women are more vulnerable in these situations and kind of provides a safe space for them. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that maybe it's because as a result of cultural differences, maybe the age of the metro system in Tehran's system is newer. Is that the stations themselves, many of them are absolutely beautiful. With some of them have Persian tile work, calligraphy, and artistic installations. Some of the busiest hubs like Tajik Square even feel like underground shopping malls with tons of small stores, bakeries, cookie shop, bookstores, and kiosks, even barber shops under the ground. This is a metro system by comparison is very minimalist and uniform. All the stations kind of look the same, with that classic brutalist architecture typical of Washington, D.C. Dim lighting is functional, but it doesn't offer the same cultural or visual richness. In terms of, so you can see a few of the pictures here. This is in Shiraz. Again, this station is in Shiraz. So, in terms of affordability, I would say Tehran is much more affordable. The riding a metro is a lot more affordable. It's under 10,000 toman. 10,000 toman would be 10 cents. And if you get the monthly pass or a yearly pass, it becomes cheaper. In DC, a metro ride ranges from $2 to $6 depending on how far you're going and what time it is. That can add up quickly, especially for someone commuting every day. But here's the important context: an average income in Iran is also much lower. So while transportation is cheap in dollar terms, it still has to be affordable for the average Iranian. And the truth is, it is, despite inflation and economic challenges, public transit in Tehran has stayed accessible for almost everybody, which isn't always the case in the US city. In some parts of the US, if you don't own a car, you're basically stuck. And the public transit doesn't offer you many options. So I think this fact that the public transit is being affordable, being accessible for a lot of people in Tehran is also the case in, like, I lived in Beijing. It was also the same way. You could get anywhere with using the bus system or the metro. In most European cities, I haven't traveled there, but I know the public transit. So I would say public transit is one of the disadvantages of living in the US. So yeah, these two capital cities show us very different approaches to public transportation, and Washington's system is well organized, very clean, but expensive, often limited outside the city center. Tehran's system, on the other hand, is dense, culturally integrated, and incredibly affordable, designed to be used by millions of people every single day. Let me know what you think. If you ever used the public transit in any of these cities or any other city, and you could share your experience comparing the two systems. At the end, if you enjoyed this comparison, drop a like, subscribe, and share with a friend. I've got some videos coming soon on life design and everyday systems, both in Iran and the US. See you next time. Stay tuned.